I come from Kurukshetra. Have you heard of Kurukshetra?
Yes, sir.
Kurukshetra is known for what?
The Mahabharata.
Please don't remember Kurukshetra for Mahabharata. Remember Kurukshetra as a place to be the first ever university on the planet. I repeat, remember Kurukshetra as a place to be the first ever university on the planet, because the objective of a university is to get knowledge, and the best possible knowledge has been given by Lord Krishna himself in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you, Bhagavad Gita is a ism neutral, religion free treatise on management, relationship management, welfare economics, and media management. If I ask you, who is the first media personality on earth?
Narad Muni.
Huh?
Journalist from Narad Muni, I think. I am not
Narad Muni cannot be called a media person, but according to Bhagavad Gita, you know very well,
Sanjay.
first shloka is spoken by Dhritarashtra to whom? Sanjay. Sanjay was the highest possible communicator, highest possible strong communicator of electronic media. Although we have been talking of print media for ages, but you know how the first question asked by Dhritarashtra, the only sloka spoken in this, Dharam Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yujutsva Mamka Pandavachaya Kim Kurta Sanjaya. Sanjay is being asked, and then the entire 699 slokas were narrated by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra. That was the highest degree of ethical mass communication we talk about. So, although Megji has told you many things about you, I am basically a teacher from the family of teachers. My 4 generations are in the profession of teaching. My grandfather, my father, me, my wife, my daughter are in teaching. At the same time, I am a professional journalist also. I am known for business communication. Presently, I write very forcefully on spirituality, and I have 235 blogs in Speaking Tree of Times of India. You can follow me there and find out how I am able to develop the thoughts. Let me come to the topic of discussion today, that is neuroethics in media for Swarnim Bharat towards 2047. Last year, the entire country was in celebration mode. We were calling it
Amrit.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. All celebrations were taking place. But now after that, we have coined a term Swarnim Bharat, when we will be completing 100 years of independence. As a student of economics, if I say what is Swarnim Bharat, the data from various agencies is coming that at that time we will be a 40 trillion economy. Will that make us Swarnim Bharat? Or what kind of Swarnim Bharat we think of? Honorable Prime Minister has also given conceptualization of Atam Nirbhar Bharat, Atam Nirbharta. What is that Atam Nirbharta? As a student of economics, let me tell you, Atam Nirbharta without knowing Atma is self-sufficiency. Self-sufficiency is an objective which is pursued in a closed economy where there is no international trade. Meaning thereby, we are like frog of the well. We are just confining to ourselves. Whatever we are producing it for ourselves. But there is another concept, self-reliance, Atmanirbharta. That is a objective pursued in an open economy where there is an international trade. And our balance of payment should be very well with that. Our exports may be less than imports, but ultimately the balance of payment should be favorable. Now in that sense, we have to play a role. Media has a very important role to play in reaching to the people. How to go ahead. So this is very clear to you that what I want to convey today in this lecture, Nido Ethics in Media. Media includes all kinds of media today we are talking about. Print media, electronic media, radio, social media, your Facebook, your WhatsApp and what not. In that scenario, we have to talk of what role we can play, and that role is very unique. If you think that you are going to be a media person tomorrow after taking education here, what you have to do and what you have not to do, that introspection we will have little later, but we have a unique role and responsibility for all the stakeholders of the economy. Stakeholders includes consumers, producers, feeders, traders, policymakers and politicians. Politicians both in power and opposition. In media, we talk of news, we talk of views. Views are important or news are important? Here I would like to draw your kind attention to one of the most important events in our economy, Union Budget 2023-24. Hopefully you know about it. The Finance Minister presented in Parliament on February 1st, 2023. I got a WhatsApp message that on 31st January there were only 783 economists in my country. On 1st February, the number rose to 2,75,000. On 2nd February, when people were commenting on budget, that rose to around 3 lakhs. On 3rd of February, the number of economists in my beloved country reduced again to 783. That is the data being provided through social media to me. You may believe it, you may not believe it, but this is the truth of my country, that everybody becomes economist on the budget day, after the budget day, to unnecessarily make comments, quick reactions, and without understanding it. In that scenario, we have to play a unique role to reach to the people with responsibility, with ethics. The fraternity of media needs to use collective wisdom to work without worries, with Nido ethics for accepting the challenges of all kinds. You know very well, if I tell you who is the most ethical journalist today in the country, both in electronic and print media, and if I tell you who is the journalist talking of development communication today, let me tell you, I am blessed with the credentials today only because of print media. Newspapers, I can tell you the name of that. The Tribune, coming from Chandigarh. It comes from Delhi also. If you put my name, Goel, and just write down Tribune, you will find how much is the contribution and how I have been appearing in Tribune since 1982, when you were not born. Meaning thereby, my credibility today is because of that print media. Although after that I have come out with number of things, but I could not get that exposure in electronic media of the nation, particularly the national channels, which is required to use my services for reaching to the people the conceptualization I talk about, the Nido ethics, which is practically coming from the conceptualization of Nidonomics, which is Gita based. You might be knowing logo of LIC.
Yes.
What is that? Something being written down the hands. Yogam Kshemam Bahamyam. Your welfare is our responsibility, and that is the promise of Life Insurance Corporation of India. And let me confess before you, I don't have a single LIC policy till today. But I feel insured the moment I was able to locate this shloka in Bhagavad Gita. Shloka number 22 of chapter 9, where Lord Krishna says, Anyanya chantanto yojana priyupaste tesham nityabhyuktanam yogam kemam bhamyam. Meaning thereby, Lord Krishna says, if you believe me completely, absolutely and wholeheartedly, whatever you need, that I'll give you. Whatever you have, I'll take care of. And that is the gentleman promise of God to satisfy your needs. You just create your needs. And whatever you have, that will be taken care of. That is my practical experience in my life. I can give you 101 evidences wherein I created a need and that is being fulfilled. I reached Dwarka on 27th and I prepared a brief message that I am here in Prabha apartment Dwarka during March 27 to 30th. That reached to Honorable Chancellor Dr. Sandeep Parvahaji also. He quickly responded that I would like you to be introduced to my students of journalism and mass communication media here. And he immediately called me, told me that when you can you come today? I told no, it is proper that you invite me on 30th and I am here today. That was just a need I created to come to Marwaha studio to talk to you on talking on Nido ethics. Let me tell you, media without ethics is like eyes without sight. You know the position of a blind person. Media is blind without ethics. Therefore, Nido ethics is needed ethics in media which we have to promote. Although there is a concept prevailing in the society these days. I don't know whether you are aware of it or not. Godi media. You know it very well. Last week there was a celebration of Ramnath Gonika Awards. Perhaps you have read that news. That there was chief guest was the Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud. I had the pleasure of delivering one lecture in Bengaluru, a memorial lecture in honor of a great economist and politician, which was presided over by the former Chief Justice of India, M. N. Chalaya, if you have heard about it. Dr. as he is M. N. Chalaya is known name, former Chief Justice of India. He was presiding over. More than 10 Vice Chancellors were sitting here, and that was probably in the month 16th of June 2016. That was the first memorial lecture in honor of KVG Gowda, who was contemporary of Dr. Manmohan Singh in London School of Economics, remained member of Parliament from South Bengaluru twice. Therein, when I repeatedly talking about we need to change our looks, we need to change our actions, we need to change our words to make it law of the land. I just draw your kind attention to the fact that Amendment Chalaya, when he was delivering the memorial, this presidential lecture, he said, Professor Goel repeatedly said, we have to change looks, actions and words to make it law of the land. Meaning thereby, our law is outdated. Our judiciary is century-year-old and our judges cannot be relied upon. You know the judgments which are coming. In that scenario, we have to conduct ourselves with ethical journalism. The adage, necessity is the mother of invention, rightly explains the importance of needs in Bharat as a knowledge economy. Let me tell you, probably you know about Bharat. I asked this question in civil services few days back. What is the difference between Bharat and India? Do you know about it? I have written something here. The young mothers may be knowing when they teach their nursery students what India is. In English dictionaries, India is independent nation declared in August, sadly. And Bharat means, Bha means knowledge, Rat means seeker. Bharat is a knowledge seeker economy from the very beginning. That is why we have been claiming the status of Vish Guru also. But today, when we are thinking to enter into Swarnim Bharat, we have to think in terms of making India incredible as independent, non-violent democracy with integrity and amity. So, first of all, as a student of journalism, student of India, must understand Bharat and India. Let me tell you, Nido-ethics as part and parcel of Nido-nomic school of thought is necessary as common sense approach. I was telling to you how it's common sense approach. We have to confine to needs and no to greed. Let me tell you, most of the problems prevailing in the society are because of greed. You talk of corruption, you talk of terrorism, you talk of discrimination, you talk of discontent, you talk of inequalities. All kind of problems are because of greed. I call it greedonomics, economics of greed, and the solution lies in Nido-nomic school of thought, and Nido-ethics is part and parcel of that Nido-nomic school of thought. We need high ethical standards in media based on principles of truth and accuracy, independence, fairness, humanity and accountability. And that question should ponder over our mind time and again to become a ethical professional in the media fraternity. For that, next, I will use the 6 W's which are practically from journalism. When I did my postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication from Kurukshetra University, that time I heard of this W's. 5 W's they used to call it. So as a journalist, as a media personality, whether you are on TV, whether you are writing in print media, if you understand this scenario before COVID, during COVID and after COVID, with Nido-ethics in media towards 2047 to be Swarnim Bharat. Let me draw your kind attention to the fact that we were having education policy in 1986. After that, there is only national education policy in 2020. How many of you have read National Education Policy 2020? It is a 66-page document developed in 27 headings. But for higher education, the heading starts from 9 to 17. Factual position you can understand. And we talk of HOTS, higher order thinking skills, creativity, innovation, critical thinking. For that, media fraternity has a very important role to play. But the makeup of dishonesty, when you make up yourself, clean your face and put up many things, I call it makeup of dishonesty, is corruption. and we have to pay its price in terms of inefficiencies visible around with discrimination and discontent in democratic Bharat. I don't know how much is the package nowadays media people are getting. There was a time in many of the Hindi newspapers, people used to pay money to become a journalist. I know a friend who is now in the United States, a businessman. He paid 25,000 rupees to become a correspondent of Punjab cases. What to talk of getting salary? This is needs to be find out how much package media people are getting today. If they are not getting proper, corruption is going to be inbuilt in their profession. They have to be fully paid, highly paid, so that they become ethical. We have to imbibe the lessons from Gita-based leadernomics and keep a check on greed. I have already spoken on this point. We have to think inside the box and work together with one voice of commitment along with out of the box thinking to avoid a post-mortem approach. Media has a very important role to play in writing down post-mortem of a death taking place. You know what is post-mortem?
Yes.
When somebody dies, we know what was the cause of the death. And that can happen on any issue. Just as I was telling to you that after budget, next day, everybody is talking about this is useless. Almost all opposition people say it's useless. All of the politicians in power, they appreciate it. But we, the media people, have to understand, analyze the intricacies involved in that and come out with truth, what is happening around. So, we have not to think in terms of the post-mortem approach, but we have to work together for commitment along with out-of-the-box thinking to avoid this post-mortem approach. We have to promote core values, including professionalism, integrity, and respect for diversity and integrity of Bharat to be Swarnim. You know very well, a very interesting issue is going on in the country today about nationality. You may be filling up forms for various competitive examinations. When you write down nationality, we write Indian. If we write Bharatiya there, nobody stops us. And so far religion is concerned, I am a Hindu, I will write Hindu. If anybody is Muslim, he will write Muslim. So, in case we talk of Swarnim Bharat, we have to direct our citizens to write nationality as Bharatiya. Probably we can reach towards that Swarnim Bharat. To work without worries in teaching, in judiciary, in media, we have to be soul conscious as the real education needed today in addition to 3P use of 3F. 3P means proper, productive and practical use of proper, productive and practical use of hands, head and heart. हमें दिल की बात भी सुननी चाहिए, हेड की बात भी सुननी चाहिए और इन हैंड्स का प्रयोग भी करना है. मुझे बहुत पुरानी बात याद आ रही है. When I was a small kid, we both were quarreling. लड़ाई हो रही थी. दूसरे बच्चे के पेरेंट्स, मेरे फादर टीचर थे, उनके पास आए तो उन्होंने एक बात कही, ये ताड़ी एक हाथ से नहीं बजती. दोनों हाथों से बजती है, लेकिन पता नहीं उस समय when I was hardly a kid of 4th or 5th class, I said, ये देखिए जी, मैं तो चुपचाप खड़ा था, इसने आके मुझे अटैक किया था. नॉन इश्यूज को इश्यू बना करके हम लोगों को भटकाते रहते हैं, लेकिन हमें प्रॉपर प्रोडक्टिव एंड प्रैक्टिकल यूज ऑफ हैंड्स की जहां तक मैं बात करूंगा, हम अभी तक वर्ल्ड बैंक के पास, IMF के पास ऐसे जाते रहे। हो सकता है स्वर्णिम भारत में हम ऐसे हो जाए। क्या समझे इसका मतलब? ये हम मांग रहे हैं, ये हम दे रहे हैं। तो भगवान हमें देने वाला बनाए, ये स्वर्णिम भारत का सपना हम 2047 में देख रहे हैं। आपने ये डेफिसिट्स के कॉन्सेप्ट सुने होंगे, फिस्कल डेफिसिट, रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट, बजट डेफिसिट, प्राइमरी डेफिसिट, ट्रेड डेफिसिट, अबव ऑल ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट। यानी कि हमारा जो कोफिशिएंट ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट है वो बहुत हाई। आप किसी भी इशू को उठा लें, चाहे आप फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात करें, हमारे देश के नेता मंत्री लोग हर साल विदेशों के चक्कर काटते हैं, है ना, और वहां से MOUs करके आते हैं 10,000 करोड़ का, 5,000 करोड़ का, और जब एक्चुअल आता है ना फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट, वो आता है 50 करोड़। उस गैप को क्या कहेंगे हम? उससे हम कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं कोफिशिएंट ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट। हरियाणा में जब चौधरी बंसीलाल चीफ मिनिस्टर होते थे, उन्होंने प्रोहिबिशन पॉलिसी चलाई। उस प्रोहिबिशन पॉलिसी में, am I audible to you without mic? Yes. मीनिंग देयरबाय, उन्होंने उस समय प्लानिंग कमीशन होता था, आज प्लानिंग कमीशन नहीं है, आजकल नीति आयोग है। उस प्लानिंग कमीशन को 500 करोड़ रुपए की डिमांड की और उनको मिला 50 करोड़। यानी कि ये जो है, इसको हम करें कि 500 माइनस 50 दैट इज 490 डिवाइडेड बाय 500, दैट इज द कोफिशिएंट ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट। ये हम हर विषय के ऊपर कर सकते हैं, चाहे वो DFI की बात हो, चाहे हम आपसी संबंधों की बात करते हो। अगर आपको ट्रस्ट नहीं है, जब तक हम मीडिया का ट्रस्ट नहीं बनाएंगे, आप पता नहीं रवीश कुमार को सुनते हैं या नहीं सुनते हैं, मैं सुनता हूँ, ध्यान से सुनता हूँ, बातों में सच्चाई नजर आती है ना। और भी बहुत से, अब जैसे वो जहाँ साहब इंडियन एक्सप्रेस के एडिटर बोल रहे थे उस दिन, है ना, that needs to be trusted, we have to believe that। और वो पॉसिबिलिटी कब है? जब हम इस कोफिशिएंट ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट को रिड्यूस कर देंगे। से नो टू फ्री राइडर प्रॉब्लम। हमें मुफ्तखोरी की बहुत आदत पड़ गई, पूरी राजनीति जो है मुफ्तखोरी पे चल रही है, और उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन अगर हम कर देंगे तो उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए हमें यूजर पे प्रिंसिपल विद सेल्फ कॉन्शियसनेस लगाना पड़ेगा। उसके बिना हम ये जितने भी डेफिसिट्स हैं, अब ये फिस्कल डेफिसिट का कंसेप्ट सुना किसी ने? क्या होता है फिस्कल डेफिसिट? मींस रेवेन्यू रिसीव्स माइनस टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर। जब ये कॉन्सेप्ट आया था, आई वॉज द फर्स्ट पर्सन इन द कंट्री टू रिएक्ट अगेंस्ट इट, क्योंकि हमने बजट डेफिसिट सुना था। बजट डेफिसिट मींस टोटल रेवेन्यू माइनस टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर। इट्स लॉजिकल कि हमारी टोटल रेवेन्यू कितना है, टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर कितना है। और फिस्कल डेफिसिट का जब कॉन्सेप्ट आया तो उसमें था रेवेन्यू रिसीव्स माइनस टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर। हमें लगा ये वर्ल्ड बैंक ने कॉन्सेप्ट क्यों दिया? उनका पर्पस सिर्फ ये था कि जितने भी डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं वो मैक्सिमम लोन कितना मांग सकते हैं, वो पर्पस था उसका। और ये बात तो हमारा किसान जानता है, वो जो भी खेती करता है उससे जो उसकी फसल आती है, फसल से लेकर के करता है ना, और बाकी वो इंटरेस्ट देता रहता है आड़ती को। और फिस्कल डेफिसिट का कंसेप्ट वास्तव में फार्मर को गवर्नमेंट से ज्यादा पता, क्योंकि वो अपने खर्चे रेवेन्यू रिसीव्स में घटाता है और उसको पूरा करने के लिए उधार लेता है। वो अपनी जमीन नहीं बेचता, लेकिन सरकारें पब्लिक सेक्टर बेच रही है।
और उसके लिए इस रेवेन्यू रिसीट्स में कुछ डाल देती है, उसको कहते हैं अदर देन कैपिटल सी। मैं आज यहाँ आया हूँ, बाई चांस मेरा ये मोबाइल गुम हो जाए या मेरा कोई नुकसान हो जाए और मैं इसको बेचना चाहूँ, इसको बेच करके जो रिसीप्ट आएंगी मेरी वो क्या होगी? कैपिटल रिसीप्ट होंगी, नहीं कैपिटल है ना मेरा, इट विल नॉट बी अदर देन कैपिटल रिसीप्ट। तो गवर्नमेंट इस फिस्कल डेफिसिट को रिड्यूस करने के लिए फॉर विच अल्टीमेट टारगेट इज 4.5% ऑफ द जीडीपी। ऐसे ही और इंडिकेटर्स हैं। तो कहने का मतलब ये है कि हमारे देश के जितने भी इश्यूज हैं, लॉन्ग टर्म चैलेंजेस हैं, उनको समझना हर जर्नलिस्ट का उत्तरदायित्व बनता है और उसको उसी तरीके से एनालिसिस करें। अब जैसे ये वाटर बॉटल आपके सामने है, अब इसमें वो तो भरी हुई नजर आ रही है पूरी, इस बॉटल में मैंने कुछ पानी पी लिया, अब ये आपको क्या नजर आ रही है? आधी भरी हुई नजर आ रही है, आधी खाली। जब हम पढ़ते थे हमें बताया जाता था कि जिस व्यक्ति को पानी भरा हुआ नजर आए उसका एटीट्यूड पॉजिटिव है। आजकल के जो अपने मैनेजमेंट गुरु हैं वो कहते हैं कि आपको ये बोतल खाली नजर आनी चाहिए ताकि आप उसमें प्रयत्न कर सकें इसको भरने के लिए। तो ये समय का तकाजा है और हमें मीडिया प्रोफेशनल के तौर पर इन सारे तथ्यों को समझना है। हमें जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, चाहे वो पॉलिटिशियंस हो, चाहे वो कंज्यूमर्स हो, चाहे वो प्रोड्यूसर्स हो, चाहे वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स हो, चाहे वो ट्रेडर्स हो, उनके बिहेवियर में जो पॉल्यूशन आ गई है, polluted behavior, they don't know how to behave. Politicians in power, politician in opposition, they should be faithful to the intentions of the will of people. जिन्होंने मैंडेट दिया है उनके हिसाब से बात करें। अगर नहीं पता है तो they should take the wisdom from the experts and they should use economy in execution of the policies and programs. ये सब नहीं है क्योंकि हमारा बिहेवियर क्या है? एक जैसे मैंने बताया कि 2,75,000 इकोनॉमिस्ट 1 फरवरी को बजट के ऊपर चर्चा कर रहे थे। उनको मतलब नहीं पता बजट का, उनको फिस्कल डेफिसिट नहीं पता, उनको बजट डेफिसिट नहीं पता, उनको रेवेन्यू डेफिसिट नहीं पता, उनको प्राइमरी डेफिसिट नहीं पता, और वो देश के वित्त मंत्री की कुछ लोग तो अंधे होकर के तारीफ कर रहे हैं। और नीडो एथिक्स इन जनरल मीडिया में हमें इसकी बहुत तकलीफ जरूरत है। इसके लिए हमें क्या करना है? वी हैव टू बिकम स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट एंड सिंपल फॉर रीच मॉडल। अब जैसे मैं कई बार मीडिया के इंटरव्यूज भी लिया करता था, सिलेक्शन कमेटी में जाता था। अब आपको पता होगा, आपको बताया गया होगा व्हाट इज, अब जैसे पूछा जाए कि विच न्यूज़पेपर यू रीड, आप बताते हैं, उससे पूछा जा सकता है कि हु इज द एडिटर ऑफ दैट, ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन। हम जानना चाहते हैं कि आप जो न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ रहे हो उसका एडिटर कौन है, राइट? उसमें कॉलम कितने हैं, है ना? व्हाट इज लीड न्यूज ऑफ टुडे, व्हाट इज द लीड ऑफ द न्यूज टुडे, दैट हैज टू बी अंडरस्टूड इन राइट पर्सपेक्टिव्स एंड फॉर दैट वी नीड टू बिकम स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट। अब स्मार्ट के बारे में तो आज छोटा बच्चा जानता है, स्मार्टफोन है उसके पास। देश में स्मार्ट सिटीज की बात भी हो रही है और मेरे देश के बहुत से लोग ओवर स्मार्ट भी हैं, स्टूपिड स्मार्ट भी हैं, लेकिन हमने क्या बनना है? स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट बनना है। स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट कौन होता है? स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट इज ए पर्सन हु अंडरस्टैंड्स द एनवायरनमेंट अराउंड। बहुत डिप्लोमेटिक होना है, हमें टूटना नहीं है। वी हैव टू वर्क विदाउट वरीज इन दैट सिनेरियो बाय बिकमिंग स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट, है ना? इस तरीके से हमने कंडक्ट करना है। ब्राइब देने वाले भी बहुत मिलते हैं, जहाँ भी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस होती है वहाँ सूट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होते हैं, बैग डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होते हैं, है ना? और वो पेन पेंसिल लोग वहीं छोड़ करके बैग लेकर के चले जाते हैं। That is not ethical. So we have to become ethical in media for Swarnim Bharat by becoming street smart. देखें आप उसमें street smart की definition देखना. Street smart is a person who knows the environment around. Like COVID era we have seen. We have seen the importance of online education, offline education. अभी इसी तरीके का you have to prove. अब जैसे एग्जामिनेशन में एक क्वेश्चन पता नहीं आप लोग पूछेंगे नहीं. Prove that print media is superior to electronic media. है ना? Prove that electronic media is superior to print media. ठीक है ना? अब कुछ लोग जैसे मेरा महक जी ने मेरा बायोडाटा पढ़ दिया है आपको, लेकिन अगर आप मुझे जानना चाहेंगे तो गूगल में नाम डालिए, you will know what I have been doing. Single-handedly developing this neuronomic school of thought. इसके लिए अब हम एक स्टेक होल्डर के तौर पे, चाहे हम मीडिया के कंज्यूमर हैं, प्रोड्यूसर्स हैं, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स हैं, ट्रेडर्स हैं, हमको ट्रांसपेरेंट होना पड़ेगा. ट्रांसपेरेंसी के लिए वैसे तो एक आरटीआई आया था, आपको याद होगा आरटीआई एक्ट. क्या वो आरटीआई एक्ट ट्रांसपेरेंसी ला सका देश में? Rather, it has brought out a new class of criminals, white collar criminals. महक जी आप मेरे से एग्री करेंगे, पता नहीं आपका कभी किसी ने आरटीआई लिया, स्टूडेंट्स का अटेंडेंस रजिस्टर क्लास में, इसके कितने लेक्चर डिलीवर किए आपने, उसके कितने लेक्चर थे? This is in the domain of RTI. Is it the prerogative of any third person to ask for the attendance of a student? The relevance of attendance of a student is till you get the roll number to appear in the examination. And if somebody from Sangrur is asking your RTI here in AAFT that this roll number, how much was the attendance, is not under RTI. It has given birth to new kind of criminals. We have to stop that. That calls for amendments in RTI Act. At the same time, presently, artificial intelligence is in play. And let me confess before you, I have learned artificial intelligence from my grandson who is just 7 years old. Meaning thereby, I was not aware of how to make use of Google Assistant. I was not able to use Alexa. He taught me how to do it. Uses are fine, excellent using Alexa, using Google Assistant, using your entire media. Uses are fine, but there are misuses also. The moment you go in for Google Meet or you go in for uploading any of the photograph on Instagram, even in the Facebook, you are in the public domain and it can be abused, it can be misused. Therefore, we have to be alert, aware and awake in making use of artificial intelligence. That is needed today by all of you, not even media, but as an individual. While putting up the photograph, you don't know when you can become victim by anybody. Responsiveness is needed today. You know, news is the most perishable item. If I am addressing today, the press release from AAFT should go to media at what time? I know that if it goes before 3 o'clock, tomorrow morning there will be newspaper. If you like to send it after 3 o'clock, it may not appear, particularly in English media. I don't know whether you have a journalist here in around the Times of India or the Indian Express or the Hindustan Times. But normally this Hindi newspapers, they are able to accept it around 6 o'clock. So time management is very important. It's important in life also. But we don't bother about time. We waste time like anything. Many things we can do quickly, but many things we can do it in 24 hours. Many things we can do it in 7 days. But we educate here people, haste makes waste. I have been in South Korea at Seoul. You know
Seoul is the capital of South Korea. And when you go there, you will find every cab with Seoul as Soul of Asia. If you ask them what is Seoul, they don't know what Soul is. Science of soul is called spirituality. And without knowing the science of soul, you cannot understand Seoul is the soul of Asia. But if you see their culture, put it in Google search engine, you will find Palli Palli culture. Palli Palli culture means hurry up and be quick. Hurry up and be quick. We are very poor in decision making. Even what to eat. When you go to restaurant, if you have to be guest of somebody, you start from the starters. You ask for soup, but you have to pay yourself. Your attention goes to the last item of the menu, etc. Meaning thereby you have to pay, and that you concentrate only on the goods. It's a very serious issue, and that responsiveness needs to change by adopting 24/7 7 days model for the entire country as a whole. Action-oriented approach. Let me tell you, we are target-oriented people investing the resources like anything. You know the financial year of our country? Starting on 1st April, which is a Fool's Day, and 31st March has become a ritual day. On that day, government departments, the ministries, waste resources like anything in the name of target-oriented approach, that they have to spend it by 31st March. And here, let me tell you, most of the ministries, they are able to use only 30% of their budget till 31st December. And within these 3 months, they try to spend 70% of the budget allocated to that. Sorry to say. You know how you can eat the entire stuff together. This is the corruption inbuilt in the economy. You know there is one scheme, Anganwadi, if you have heard about it. Particularly to give cooked food to the expectant mothers, lactating mothers and the children. And they have to be given cooked food. If the food is not available for 25 days, it is coming on 26 days, can it be given for 4 days for the entire month? But you have to maintain the record for that. You have utilized it. So what? Its corruption is inbuilt. The workers take it to their homes. To avoid that, we should provide them for the full month. Heaven is not going to fall if the money is not utilized on 31st March. Let it be available on April, May, June. So we have to replace our so-called target-oriented approach of wasting the resources to become action-oriented and result-oriented that can solve many of the problems. Morality is the name of the game everywhere, including media. I told to you, media without ethics is like eye without sight. Yes. Similarly, the conceptualization of neuronomics which I talk about, that is earth with dharma. You know, on Diwali we write down Shubh Labh. Shubh Labh means with right means, by ethical behavior, rational behavior. So, to avoid that corruption inbuilt in media, that can be sorted out by adopting ethics in media. Above all, we need to become simple. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, simple living and high thinking. But I always say, simple living, no thinking. No thinking does not mean that we should not think. We should think of those things which are in our control. We should not think of those things which are not in our control. And that is the message of my Guru Gita, the heart of Krishna. That you have a right on your actions, not on
results. So, what is in your control, that you can do it, and beyond control things, you have to live it. But at the same time, you need to become simple. Simple is a model of human development for media also. How to become simple in the strict sense of the term. You know very well what is quick reaction on budget. What finance minister spoke just now. And people say it's good if you are in power, if you are in opposition, nothing is being done. But you must get proper response, not quick reaction. That is required in your own reports also. Don't give quick reaction, but respond to an issue. And that is possible by developing emotional quotient. One of the days when we were talking of IQ, IQ became obsolete today. It is possessed by machine. Your smartphone is having IQ. Higher than you. But you can be superior to this smartphone as a human being by developing emotional quotient. Emotional quotient means you have to develop patience. You have to motivate yourself. You have to motivate others. Empathize with others. Not sympathize with them. Love oneself attitude. That's what required. Love oneself attitude as a soul. If you believe yourself as a soul, you will not do any crime. And confining to needs, there is no chance of doing any sin, crime. Meaning thereby, greed is the guru of all sins. Therefore, love oneself attitude is needed today. And if you know yourself as a soul, soul is immortal, death rate is zero. As a physical body, everybody is to die. I have to die. You have to die. Therefore, why to afraid of death? Physical development, health, culture, you know we have to develop. Health is wealth. A sound mind lives in a sound body. And for that, Ayushman Bharat is being talked about. Is it sufficient for green health culture? Do you know the health protocol given during the COVID era? WHO has came out with a health protocol. Something being asked by WHO, no shaking hands, no hugging, only namaste, namaskar. That has made India internationalized. Very important thing, positive implications of COVID era, that India stands internationalized today because of namaste and namaskar. Mental level development. Yes, we have to change our mindset. You might have read some articles on role of media during freedom struggle. How media was playing an important role at the time of independence. And you might be knowing some heroes of freedom struggle also. Bhagat Singh, have you heard of Bhagat Singh?
Yes, sir.
Bhagat Singh was student of BA Part 1 at that time. And people used to call him mental. Pagal hoya firda sada munda. At that time, Bhagat Singh used to recite a couplet. इन्हीं बिगड़े दिमागों में घने खुशबू के लच्छे हैं, हमें पागल ही रहने दो, हम पागल ही अच्छे हैं. That kind of people is required. That is required in media people today. If you want to become ethical media professional, that kind of credibility is required today. And we have to change our mental makeup. We have to stop war of words. We have to stop blame game. Instead of that, we have to be ethical. For that, we have to change our looks. We have to change our actions. We have to change our words to make it law of the nature. Intuition development. Being an economist, we sometimes make prediction how we are going to behave. India is going to emerge as a world leader, honestly speaking. Only on the basis of spiritual strength, not on the basis of materialism. I challenge that 40 trillion economy. If we have 40 trillion economy and the petrol is being sold as 1000 rupees per liter, what you will do? purchasing power parity is reduced to low level. But Swarnim Bharat can be by enhancing your ethical conduct, by making use of principle of Nidonomics, saying no to many things, doing judicious consumption, mindful consumption, Nido consumption. And I believe the rate of progress in spirituality is faster than the rate of progress in materialism. India is going to become Vishguru only on the basis of spiritual strength, not on the basis of anything else. This means we have to understand that spiritual quotient. IQ is related with your head, EQ is related with your heart, and SQ is related with your soul. Next. So what we have to do, we have to become street smart and simple to reach to the people, to the stakeholders of media, who reads your news, who listen your news, watches you on TV. For that, we have to read Gita to recall self as soul, empowerment with enlightenment, altruistic approach, not me but you. When you write a news or views, you don't write it for you, but you write it for your readers, listeners and viewers. You have to be altruistic. And that should be done with commitment and hold on needs. To move on the ladder of success in media, maybe print media, electronic media, to move on the ladder of success in media with morality, opulence, victory and empowerment. MOVE. Morality, opulence, victory and empowerment. Believe that Krishna is God, the greatest teacher, and Arjun as your own soul is with you. And that is called Ek Shloki Gita. Ek Shloki Gita. Put it in Google search engine. Find out Ek Shloki Gita. And that is spoken by Sanjay. Sanjay, the greatest possible communicator of TV, electronic media of today. He said, Yatra Yogeshwar Krishno, Yatra Parthor Dhanurdhar, Tatra Sri Vijyo, Bhutarduta Mitram. Meaning thereby to move on the ladder of success with morality, opulence, victory and empowerment. Believe that Krishna as God, the greatest teacher, is with you, and Arjuna as your own soul is with you. With this, let me conclude my presentation today for Nido Ethics in Media for Swarnim Bharat 2047. We have to become street smart, simple and beautiful.